32nd Guam Youth Congress is now in order. Now I'll call on Representative Labang for the prayer.
In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, amen. Dear Lord, thank you for this day. I hope that you guide us on the decisions that we're going to make today, and also guide the youth of Guam and the rest of our community. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. This day our daily bread. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Glory be to the Father, the Son, to the Holy Spirit. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen.
I now call on Representative Vice Speaker Richards for the national anthem.
Oh, say can by the dawn's early light, what so proudly hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
And I'll call on Representative Santos for the Guam hymn.
Fanogita moru puita nota kantai matunan yagitoru iluna para honra para gloria viva isla semana.
And I'll call on Representative Quintaniza for the recitation of the Inifresi.
Inifresi.
Imastakala coração, mas figo na direção, o oferecer mais azul, trabalho com tegi, tanto defende, cultura, y lenguaje, y aire, y hanota, y tanatuma. Ni ilan shaku directu gimnastu stata. Esti hua fitma gihilui Biblia, taki bandarahu, y bandarengwa.
You may be seated. Mr. Recording Secretary, roll call, please.
Representative Uggan. Representative Blas. Representative Byron Blas. Representative Travis Blas. Representative Cruz. Representative DeHelig. Representative DeGracia. Representative Dinsman. Representative DeLohan. Representative Duenas. Representative Felison. Representative Garrido. Representative LeBang. Secretary Lorenzo. Representative Maige. Representative Matsanani. Representative Peretta. Representative Pierre Paul. Representative Kineni. Representative Quintaniza. Vice Speaker Richards. Representative Roki. Representative Rosario. Representative Elijah Santos. Representative Javen Santos. Representative Tyherin. Representative Trinidad. Speaker Valencia. Representative Isabel Valencia. Mr. Speaker, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. We're now on item 7, call for the approval of the Legislative Journal. Mr. Majority Leader, you're recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I call for the approval of Legislative Journal dated April 13, 2019.
Is that a motion to approve?
Yes.
There's been a motion to approve the Legislative Journal dated April 13, 2019. Are there any objections? Hearing none, motion passes.
Mr. Speaker, I move to waive items 8 through 11 of the session agenda.
There's been a motion to waive items 8 through 11 of our legislative session agenda. Are there any objections? Seeing as there are none, motion passes. Mr. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that all bills and resolution must be given their first reading.
There's been a motion that all bills and resolutions introduced be deemed to have their first reading. Are there any objections? Seeing as there are none, motion passes. Mr. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move to set aside Bill 13-32.
There's been a motion to set aside Bill number 13-32. Are there any objections? Seeing as there are none, motion passes.
Mr. Speaker, notwithstanding House rules, I place Resolution 21-32 to the session agenda and must be given its first reading.
Could you please state the title for that resolution, please?
Relative to posthumously recognizing the late Donovan Afison for his dedication and service to the people of Guam through his preservation of culture through dance, music, ministry in the Archdiocese of Agana, and the countless number of families and friends who have been consoled by his voice.
Thank you. There's been a motion to, notwithstanding House rules, there's been a motion to place resolution number 21-32 onto our session agenda. Are there any objections? Seeing as there are none, motion passes. Mr. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, that's all the motions I have right now.
Thank you. We're still in motions. Mr. Floor Leader, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to make a motion to place resolution number 20-32 into the second reading file with the option to discuss.
There's been a motion to place resolution number 20-32 onto the second reading file. Are there any objections? Seeing as there are none, motion passes. You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Resolution number 20-32, I had discovered while I was doing research for a project. You know, all of us we're coming down to the wire for our semester, and this inspiration kind of came up on me while I was working on a project related to the United Nations, and I found that the United Nations observes, and this is an annual observance of the International Week of Solidarity with the people of non-self-governing territories. And this is something that I have never heard of, despite the fact that we are living on a non-self-governing territory right now. To know that the United Nations has a whole week recognized to stand in solidarity with us and our decolonization efforts, I wrote this resolution to try to bring awareness to this resolution, or to bring awareness to the Week of Solidarity, and to start the conversation within this body on what decolonization means. Now, whenever I bring up the conversation of decolonization, I think back to middle school and one of my middle school teachers having the conversation of citizenship and what that means on Guam. He asked our entire class, do any of you hope to run for president someday? And you know, some kids raised their hands, and to those who rose their hands, he said, that is impossible. You're not a real citizen, so you have no right to run for president. And just knowing that I was from a territory, I was confused about that. And that's kind of where I started to engage with the subject of decolonization, because us on the territories are given unequal rights to the rest of the world, or to the rest of the country. We can't vote for president. We don't have representation in Congress. And it's a problem that can only be solved through our journey through self-determination. And now I know that a lot of people may be scared of the word decolonization because of how it sounds and how it makes our relationship to sound with the United States. But that's a reality. The relationship of Guam and the United States has been built on racist ideologies that the people of the non-self-governing territories are not equal to the rest of the country, because they need to be guided in a certain way, and they can't be given these Western value rights. And this is language that's been used up into the Obama administration to justify the situation that our non-self-governing territories are in. But the views that the United States has towards its non-self-governing territories are not the views of the rest of the world, as we can see from this International Week of Solidarity with the people of the non-self-governing territories. With the international community is showing their support for us, showing their support for the decolonization efforts. And decolonization can mean so many things, but according to international law, decolonization means statehood, free association, or statehood or integration, free association, or independence. So these are the options that we have for our decolonization. And just to start the conversation of decolonization in this body, especially because as young people, we know that a part of the life of living in a territory is the military. And a part of the life of us growing up is the pressure to join the military, is the pressure of always having the military around. And the military has continued to take from our lands and take from our resources. And this taking has continued to hurt our environment and to hurt our local culture and preservation of our history. So recognizing that this taking, this inequality that the people of the non-self-governing territories have with the rest of the country, and recognizing that there's the United Nations and so many states out there trying to support us as we move towards our decolonization, whether it's integration into the United States as a state or something a little bit more independent, is a good thing for the people of Guam, because the status quo only serves to benefit the United States, and it continues to hurt the people of Guam. So starting the conversation on decolonization in this body and having the discussion on what role the international community has to play and our relationship with the United States has to play is the reason why I introduced this resolution. And I hope that the body realizes, or I hope that the body sees that this is an important resolution for us to talk about and for us to send to the various members in the transmittal clause, because these people in the transmittal clause need to realize that, at least on Guam, there are youth trying to push for the decolonization, because despite the struggles that we have in order to get there, the fact that there's effort and the fact that there's momentum beginning to build shows the international community a good sign. So that's why I introduced this resolution, Mr. Speaker, and I am happy to answer any questions on decolonization or about the week of solidarity in general, and I hope that I have the support of the body. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Santos. On the main motion on resolution number 20-32, are there any other member who wishes to speak? Representative Quintanilla, you're recognized.
As the youth of Guam, we here shall inherit the responsibility of enacting the decolonization of our island. The effects that colonization has on our daily life are vast. It affects everything from our right to vote for president to the Jones Act, which inflates the prices and options of imported goods. To be a territory is to be nothing more than a colony, and that is what we are. Colonized people living in a colonized land, a people with lesser rights and no say in our governance. The fact that we have a representative in Congress who cannot vote perfectly encapsulates our colonization. We have a seat at the table and a space to be heard, but without a vote, we do not have to be listened to. One of the biggest hurdles to decolonization is public awareness. The United Nations has constantly reaffirmed the validity of decolonization for non-self-governing territories. The United Nations Declaration on the Granting of Independence to colonial countries and peoples states that the continued existence of colonialism prevents the development of international economic cooperation, impedes the social, cultural, and economic development of dependent peoples, and militias against the United Nations' ideal of universal peace. The world has spoken. Colonialism is even a threat to world peace. Indeed, this rings true for the people of Guam. If there's just one thing that I wanted you to remember from today, it's this: the world is always changing, and if we don't play an active role in that change, we may not like where we end up. That is all.
Thank you, Representative Quintanilla. On the main motion, any other member who wishes to speak? Representative Garrido, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Resolution 20-32 is really aimed at expressing gratitude to the United Nations for recognizing May 25th to the 31st as the Week of Solidarity with the peoples of non-self-governing territories. The fact that Guam is on the list of non-self-governing territories along with 16 other entities is in itself very problematic. Sorry. Non-self-governing territory is just another way to say colony, just as administering power is just another way to say colonizer. And colonization has really been a perpetual problem that we experience here on Guam, as seen by our territorial status. So the United Nations has really been supportive of the decolonization process for territories all across the world. And self-determination and decolonization they're not new topics being discussed here on island. We have been struggling with these issues for decades, and the strides toward the solutions to these issues really begin with us. So this resolution is not just about thanking the UN for their support, but it's also a statement that we as the youth of Guam are making a stance as a collective people of a non-self-governing territory and saying that we recognize our colonial status. And it's also saying that we recognize the need for this status to change. So with the third international decade for the eradication of colonialism coming to an end, we really need to eradicate our long-standing status as a territory, and in order to put an end to colonialism completely, and to further pursue a new status as outlined in international law. So I, along with my sponsors, Javen and Tristan, really hope that we can garner your support here today and make a stand as the representatives of the youth and support Resolution 20-32. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Garrido. On the main motion, any other member who wishes to speak? Anyone? Okay. If not, Representative Santos, you're invited to close.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you to my co-sponsors for their testimony that serves to just make clear the issue at hand right now. And I just wanted to, in my closing statement, recognize that despite the fact that we're expressing gratitude to the United Nations, in no way do we think that the United Nations is the solution to our decolonization issues, because it's such a multifaceted problem that needs to be addressed by all of us, by everyone who's living in this non-self-governing territory, by everyone who is currently suffering from the pressures of colonialism and the inequalities that come with it. And for every young person whose teacher will tell them they can never run for president because their country doesn't see them as equal to the rest of the people, and it's all just because of where you were born. So with that being said, I hope that the silence that comes from the rest of the body is silence of support. And I just want to thank the rest of the body for the opportunity to stand here and talk about the issue of decolonization. And I hope that we can continue having conversations like this later on in the term. And if there's anyone who has any questions or anyone who wants to learn more about the decolonization process and why it's important, then I would love to have that conversation with anybody. So with that being said, I guess there's no more testimony. So I guess I'll move Resolution 20-32 to the third reading file for voting.
There's been a motion to place resolution number 20-32 onto the third reading file. Are there any objections? Seeing as there are none, motion passes. We're still in motions. Vice Speaker Richards, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to move resolution number 21-32 to the second reading file.
There's been a motion to place resolution number 21-32 onto the second reading file for discussion. Are there any objections? Seeing as there are none, motion passes. You may continue.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I realize that some of the members of the body may not know who Donovan Afison is, but I'd like to shed some light on the person that he was and how he served the people of Guam. Donovan was a close friend of my family and to many families involved in the Archdiocese. But what I didn't know personally was that since the age of 5, he started dancing culturally here on the island and worked with the Guam Visitors Bureau to travel off island and represent Guam. And in some cases, traveled solo and won first place awards in international contests for cultural dancing at such a young age. And he took this passion that he had for dancing and he used it to inspire others. He became a cultural dance instructor at Ukudu High School for the Outrigger Employees Cultural Group. And in 2015, he started his own dance group called Guma Bula Gunaidze in 2015. Donovan, for those of you who didn't know him, he had a drive about him that when he wanted to do something, he was going to do it right. He was a bit of a perfectionist, and I worked with him musically, and you could tell that when we would play for funerals or sing for weddings, the passion that he put in his voice, it wasn't for himself. He wasn't there to perform or show off that he can do all these vocal things or all these instrumental things, but he was there to comfort people, to console people, to help them enhance the ceremony that they were there for. And that is true ministry of music to me as a music minister myself. He was also an RCIA instructor at Immaculate Heart of Mary Church in Totu, and had a very close relationship with Father Mike Chrysostomo, who I asked to help give me information for this resolution. When called upon to serve the community through the Archdiocese, Donovan was always there. When someone needed a vocalist for a funeral and he was available, he was there. When the Archdiocese had events, he was there. Every World Youth Day I've been to, Donovan was a part of the music ministry. And almost every funeral I've been to, if it wasn't an instrumental, they were playing his recordings to comfort the family. And the biggest thing that surprised me, I didn't even know this myself until yesterday, was that Donovan was only 26 years old, just 4 years older than me. And to have accomplished all these things, representing Guam internationally, winning first place awards, being a director of music ministry, inspiring people through cultural dance, really shows what kind of person he was and the kind of leader that he was. And I'd ask the body to support me in recognizing him and presenting this resolution to his family. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Speaker Richards. On the main motion, any other member who wishes to speak? Representative Blas, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would just like to thank Vice Speaker Richards for presenting this resolution because of the fact that I share the same sentiments he does. I knew Donovan personally. My family did as well because of the fact that he did serve so long at my local church in Totu. And I'd like to respectfully ask as well that the body recognize Donovan Avison for being such a prominent figure in Guam's modern art, and the fact that he impacted so many people on Guam, especially me and my family. So thank you.
Thank you, Representative Blas. On the main motion, Representative Uggan, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Firstly, I would like to thank Representative Richards for recognizing Mr. Fison and all he has done for our island, from his accomplishments to his contributions to the community. As a student from Ukuru High School, though I do not know Mr. Fison personally, I do know he is a very I do know he is ready to help the school for anything, and he really did help us for our Mu Alpha Theta Society, Math Honor Society. He was there to donate Chonka shells and lend us Chonka boards to really help us for our Chonka challenge for tomorrow month. And I would like to, or he passed away May 10, unfortunately, and I really like to see his legacy and his inspirations just continue to live on through the island in our cultural arts, or not just in our cultural arts, but just on the island in general. So thank you.
Thank you, Representative Uggan. On the main motion, any other member who wishes to speak? Representative Cruz, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to thank Jacob for, writing this resolution, because I personally knew Donovan as well. And being able to dance alongside him, I was able to see all the love he put into his work, and where you could see the fine line between entertainment and performance. And he was just a guy who really cared about the Chamorro culture. And from his dancers' work, he just started a dance group, and they're amazing. And it's just so great to see all the hard work he's done in such a short amount of time. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Cruz. On the main motion, any other member who wishes to speak? Representative Dahilig, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to extend my appreciation for Jacobs for writing the resolution, and also to Sinat Afaisan. He was also instrumental in choreographing the Grupo Chamorro celebration at our school. And although he was only there for about a few months, I felt the vibe and the energy for cultural dancing at our school. And with that, I'd like to say thank you, and Andonkaluna Sujus Masi to Sinat Afaisan and his family. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Dahilig. On the main motion, any other member who wishes to speak? Seeing as there are none, Vice Speaker Richards, you're invited to close.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And thank you for everyone else for speaking up. I didn't realize that other people would speak up to support the resolution and to recognize Donovan. And that's just a testament to how many people he's reached, through his service. And with that being said, his funeral is today at 1:00 p.m. If you'd like to see him one last time, it's at the church in Totu, Immaculate Heart of Mary. And without further ado, Mr. Speaker, I would like to move Resolution 21-32 to the third reading file.
There's been a motion to place resolution number 21-32 into the third reading file. Are there any objections? Seeing as there are none, motion passes. We've exhausted all items in our second reading file, and we'll now move on to second roll call. Representative Labang, you're recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I move to place Bill 13 to the Committee on Rules. Return back to Committee on Rules.
Which one? I'm sorry?
Bill 13.
That's the bill that you set aside, is that correct?
I'm sorry.
That's the bill that was set aside, right?
Yes.
I think it should go Committee on Rules.
I'm
I mean,
sorry.
okay, that's the motion. All
Yeah,
right.
that's the motion.
There's been a motion to send bill number 13-32 back to the Committee on Rules. Are there any objections? Seeing as there are none, motion passes. We're now on second roll call. Mr. Majority Leader, you're recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I make a motion to reflect first roll call to second roll call.
There's been a motion that the second roll call reflect the first roll call. Are there any objections? Seeing as there are none, motion passes.
Mr. Speaker, I make a motion to excuse members not present today.
Just kidding. There's been a motion to excuse members not present today. Are there any objections? Seeing as there are none, motion passes. We're now in the consideration of the daily file. Do you have anything else, Mr. Majority Leader? Okay. I had to let that out first. We're now in the consideration of the daily file, third reading. On resolution number 20-32, Mr. Secretary, please read the title.
Resolution number 20-32, introduced by Javen W. Santos, Prairie Rose Garrido, Tristan Xavier Quintanizo, relative to expressing gratitude to the United Nations for observing the International Week of Solidarity with the Peoples of Non-Self-Governing Territories, which shows support for the international community for colonized people like those on Guam.
Roll call, please.
Representative Uggan. Representative Uggan, aye. Representative Byron Blas. Representative Byron Blas, aye. Representative Travis Blas. Representative Travis Blas, aye. Representative Cruz. Representative Cruz, aye. Representative DeHelic. Representative DeHelic, aye. Representative DeGracia. Representative DeGracia, aye. Representative Dinsman. Representative Dinsman, aye. Representative DeLohan. Representative DeLohan, aye. Representative Garrido. Representative Garrido, aye. Representative LeBang. Representative LeBang, aye. Secretary Lorenzo. Secretary Lorenzo, aye. Representative Matanani. Representative Matanani, aye. Representative Pereda. Representative Pereda, aye. Representative Quintaniza. Representative Quintaniza, aye. Vice Speaker Richards. Vice Speaker Richards, aye. Representative Roque. Representative Roque, aye. Representative Rosario. Representative Rosario, aye. Representative Santos, or Javen Santos. Representative Santos, aye. Representative Tyron. Representative Tyron, aye. Speaker Valencia. Speaker Valencia, aye.
Resolution number 20-32 received 20 ayes, 0 nays, and 9 excused. Resolution number 20-32 hereby passes. Now on resolution number 21-32, Mr. Secretary, please read the title.
Resolution number 21-32, introduced by Jacob G. Richards, relative to posthumously recognizing the late Donovan Afison for his dedication and service to the people of Guam through his preservation of culture through dance, music, ministry in the Archdiocese of Agana, and the countless numbers of families and friends who have been consoled by his voice.
Roll call, please.
Representative Uggan. Representative Uggan, aye. Representative Byron Blas. Representative Byron Blas, aye. Representative Travis Blas. Representative Travis Blas, aye. Representative Cruz. Representative Cruz, aye. Representative DeHelic. Representative DeHelic, aye. Representative DeGracia. Representative DeGracia, aye. Representative Dinsman. Representative Dinsman, aye. Representative DeLohan. Representative DeLohan, aye. Representative Garrido. Representative Garrido, aye. Representative LeBang. Representative LeBang, aye. Secretary Lorenzo. Secretary Lorenzo, aye. Representative Matanani. Representative Matanani, aye. Representative Pereda. Representative Pereda, aye. Representative Quintaniza. Representative Quintaniza, aye. Vice Speaker Richards. Vice Speaker Richards, aye. Representative Roque. Representative Roque, aye. Representative Rosario. Representative Rosario, aye. Representative Santos. Representative Santos, aye. Representative Tyron. Representative Tyron, aye. Speaker Valencia. Speaker Valencia, aye.
Resolution number 21-32 received 20 ayes, 0 nays, and 8 excused. Resolution number 21-32 hereby passes. We've exhausted all items in our third reading file and voting file, and we're now in item 19, brief extension of remarks. Any member who wishes to be recognized? Representative Lorenzo, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you to my colleagues for voting on these resolutions today. So I just wanted to take this session to really recognize our graduating seniors and our graduated seniors. And if I could have the following representatives please go to the front. Representative Aubriana Cruz, Representative Byron Blas, Representative Janae Pareda, Representative Lauren Dinsman, Representative Travis Blas, Representative Chelsea Rosario, Representative Maria DeLohan, Representative Cabrini Uggan, and Representative Kyle DeHelig. Okay. So, all of our seniors, can we please step to the front? Anyone else? Okay. Thank you so much. And on behalf of the 32nd Guam Youth Congress, we all wanted to give you a lei for our appreciation. Your hard work, your dedication, and your time has really reflected these past months since November. So thank you for all that you do for us, and congratulations. And I know we have Representative Blas. He's graduating just today, so thank you for being here. And thank you. Representative Cruz graduated yesterday. Representative Byron Blas graduated on May 8th. And then we have our Simon Sanchez representative, June 3rd. Our Ukudu representatives are on June 11th, am I correct? Okay, perfect. And then we had our GCC representatives on May 10th. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Lorenzo, and congratulations to all of our graduates. Thank you for your service. We're still in brief extension of remarks. Any other member who wishes to speak? Okay. Oh, Representative Blas, you're recognized. You're right.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and of course, thank you for the lei. I'd like to announce formally the recent establishment of the Republican caucus. I know there was a short period where it seemed only the Democrats were ruling this House, but the minority are here. So I have the roster for our caucus. Of course, we have we're the minority, so we have about 8 members, excuse me. And of course, we have our positions of leadership. So I am serving as minority leader for the caucus. And of course, I have my minority whip, Representative Travis Blas. I have my assistant minority leader, Chairman Perry Garrido. And lastly, my assistant minority whip, Representative Casey Rosario. And our respective members, Vice Speaker Jacob Richards, Chairwoman Maria DeLohan, Representative DeMarco Canetti, and Representative Leland Matinani. So, here we are.
Yes, you're here. Thank you. Any other member who wishes to be recognized? Representative Labang, Mr. Majority Leader, you're recognized.
I want to extend to the minority leader and the rest of the Republican caucus that the majority caucus are willing to help you guys if you need any assistance on any bills. Just reach out, and I'm willing to make consensus with you all. That's all. Thank you.
Any other member wish to speak? If not, are there any announcements? Representative Tyron, you're recognized.
So the municipality of Tamuning Tumon Harmon held their annual Easter egg hunt on May 3rd, and we would just like to thank everyone for their support and generous donations into making that annual event happen again this year. And this evening, the St. John's School will be holding its final International Baccalaureate Music Night, in which Representative Elijah Santos and myself will be performing, and there will be a variety of of musicians tonight. And so it's being held at 5:30 at the St. John's Church. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Representative Tyron. Any other announcements? Representative Travis Bloss, you're recognized.
Good guys, okay, so I'm graduating today as we were talking about it. It's today at 4 p.m. at the Field House. You guys are invited. It's open to the public. Doors open at 3, so if you want to come support me, then you're welcome to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Bloss. Any other member? Representative Quintanilla, you're recognized.
Today marks the beginning of the 13th annual Agate Mango Festival located at the Agate Community Center. So I just wanted to announce that.
Thank you, good gentleman from Agate. Any other member who wishes to speak? Representative Vice Speaker Richards, you're recognized. Announcements.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Once again, I'd just like to announce that Donovan's funeral is at 1 p.m. and his viewing is ongoing. Also, the Micronesian Island Fair will take place from May 29th to June 2nd. And if anyone cares, Domino's in Agana will be opening on Tuesday, May 21st. They will have a soft opening. So I'd just like to announce that. Thank you.
Thank you to the good gentleman from Jigo. Any other member who wishes to provide announcements? Representative LeBang, you have any announcements? Okay, of course you do.
If there's no announcement, I move that we adjourn, subject to the call to speaker.
There's been a motion to adjourn this session, subject to the call of the speaker. Are there any objections? Seeing as there are none, we are adjourned.